What up? So, a couple things I want to address in this video. I was going to put my hair up, but it was too glorious to even fuck with it, so I just left it. But, I had done a live on Facebook talking about, like, the current state of boxing. So I don't want to, like, redo that whole thing, but I will touch on it because I've had a couple of people ask me to kind of touch on it, and I'm going to be as quick as possible. Everybody knows that I'm a boxing guy over MMA for sure. I like combat sports. If there's a fucking street fight on the corner, I'm probably going to watch it from my balcony. So that's just the way that I am. But that being said, I just prefer boxing to MMA for a number of reasons that I won't get into. And in all honesty, when you think about it, the best MMA fights are usually stand-up fights. So it's like that's what I would rather watch. Now, that being said, the reason I say that is because I want everybody to understand how big of a boxing fan I am and how much I've backed boxing through all the bullshit. So, you know, every fight, it was a robbery, this guy got robbed, the judges are paid off, boxing's corrupt. And the thing is, I think that everything is pretty corrupt, to be quite honest with you. And I'm not even just referring to sports. I just think that everything is corrupt to a certain extent because everybody has a price. So if you have enough money, you can make things be the way that you know you want them to be, or whatever the case is. But I won't get into that. The point of me saying this is that, do I think there's foul shit that goes on? Yeah, for sure. Of course there is. I'm sure there's people that get away with cheating. I'm sure there's judges that are either biased or legitimately are, you know, terrible judges that give these awful scorecards, or, you know, they took a payoff. So it's not that I'm saying that these things don't happen, but it doesn't happen every fucking fight. And the thing with the cheating too is, like, if you have a dude that's taking performance enhancers and he's fighting another dude that's taking performance enhancers, it's like you're cheating, but I mean, you're both cheating. So, like, I don't really care. Again, I'm going to watch it. Same thing, two people fighting in the corner. I'm going to watch it. So, with all that, I was able to, all right, that was a bad decision. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you shake it off. Like Fury Wilder 1 is a perfect example. And I'm on here to make a Fury Wilder 3 prediction, so I'll bring this up as a perfect example. Fury Wilder 1 is a bad fucking decision. I've watched it 3 times. And the reason I watch it 3 times is because the first time I watch it, I usually will score it. Unless I'm in like a party setting or something like that, and then I might not be scoring it. But usually I'll score it the first time I watch it if I'm with just like my family or whatever. Then I'll usually watch it 2 more times and purposely pay more attention and lean towards one guy, specifically on purpose. So I'll go into the fight and I'll say, when I watch this fight, every close round or any time that I think Fury might have won a round, I'm going to give it to him. Then I'm going to watch it again another time, and I'm going to do the exact opposite. And I'm going to say, anytime it was really close or I was totally undecided who won that round, and anytime that Wilder could have won the round, I'm going to give it to him. No matter what way I score that fight, and no matter how many times I watch it, Deontay Wilder did not win that fight, period. It's a bad decision, okay? You could argue that Wilder only won 2 rounds. 2 rounds with the knockdown. That's when you watch the fight in favor of Fury. When you watch the fight on an even basis, it's probably more of like a 7-3, 8-4 fight. I'll give you that. When you watch it to try to give everything to Wilder, it's closer. It's maybe an 8-4 or a 7-5 fight, and then you factor in Wilder's knockdowns, and that evens the scorecard. So if you're biased towards Wilder, a draw is stretching it. Okay? If you're biased towards Fury, Fury won every instant of that fight aside from the 2 knockdowns. And if you're being unbiased and you're really just watching it fairly, it probably was like 8-4, 7-3 Fury, and then you factor in the knockdowns for Wilder. It doesn't make up for the point differential. Fury still wins the fight. The point of me saying all this is that things like this do happen. And as much as I hate them and it pisses me off, it's going to happen every once in a while. And I get that. But so many things have gone on that are just absolutely inexcusable. Some of these Triller cards are inexcusable. And I'm not saying that because of what's going on with Jake Paul. I think I've addressed this before, but I give Jake Paul major props, okay? Jake Paul essentially did what I did, which is just fucking box whoever the fuck talks shit or wants to get in a ring with you. Only instead, I did it in a field, and Jake Paul found a way to get in there against Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren and Nate Robinson and make millions of dollars doing it. So I have no hate to spew Jake Paul's way in any way, shape, or form. I give Jake Paul a massive amount of credit for pulling off what he pulled off. And on top of that, I think that Jake Paul could fight. Now, if Jake Paul gets in the ring with Canelo, or even a real pro boxer for that matter, sure, I think Jake Paul is going to lose. I do. But that doesn't mean that Jake Paul can't fight. That doesn't mean that Jake Paul can't box. That doesn't mean that Jake Paul's not worth watching or he's not entertaining or whatever the case is. So again, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I just don't hate on the kid. I give the kid props for doing what he's doing. That being said, the circus that's coming with it is bad. Okay, Mike Tyson, probably my favorite fighter of all time. Hated seeing Mike Tyson get in there against Roy Jones. Hated seeing Evander Holyfield get in there against Vitor Belfort. And I mean, come on, bro. Seriously, like, this is just a joke, bro. You feed a 58-year-old man to a 44-year-old dude that's on fucking testosterone replacement therapy. I mean, this is not even, these are publicized things. You can go look this shit up. So, like, it's just retarded. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a 58-year-old man get beat up, especially not a 58-year-old legend. I mean, that shit is just ridiculous. I've seen Holyfield fight 75 times, okay? If I want to see a Holyfield fight, I'll go watch an old Holyfield fight. I don't need to see a 58-year-old legend going through that, period. And it's not about Holyfield losing. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. If Holyfield would have dominated, I would have said that was fucking retarded. Why does Holyfield at 58 feel the need to go fight random fucking MMA guys? And I'm not knocking Holyfield, because maybe Holyfield enjoyed what he did. Maybe Holyfield made a good amount of money. So I'm not knocking Holyfield. I'm just saying from my point of view, from my perspective, I don't understand why I need to see that. I don't need to see Holyfield at 58 years old go fight Vitor Belfort. It's not what I need to see in my life. So the whole clown scene that's coming with it is bad, in my opinion. Really, really, really bad. It's making a mockery of the sport. And again, the reason I spoke on the other things from earlier is because I defended this sport through all the, oh, this is paid off, and this is this, and this is that, and the judging, and that. And I fucking defended boxing through all of this shit. But these shows that are going on with these awful music performances, these analysts that have no fucking clue at all what they're talking about, it's just insane. The whole shit is terrible. So my 10-minute rant on that is over. I really didn't even want to speak about it for that long, but fights getting canceled. The Errol Spence-Pacquiao fight gets canceled. These clown shows are going on. Lopez Kambosos was supposed to happen like 4 fucking times already, and we're still waiting on that fight. So it's just a real circus act going on right now, and it's terrible. I'm not saying I don't want to see more of these random fights where people are getting into disagreements on social media. Okay, get a training camp for 2 months and go fight each other. I've been saying that since I was a teenager. When MTV used to have what was it, celebrity boxing or whatever it was. I used to say from before that, I don't understand why when these rappers beef or when this and that happens, why don't you go get in the fucking ring and fight? Willie D and Melly Mel did it back in the day. And that was a great turnout, you know? I don't understand why that doesn't go on more often. So the fact that we're seeing this now, to me, is cool. But stop throwing 60-year-old men in the ring with fucking either other 60-year-old men. And these people are legends. Like, don't tarnish their image of their career in any way, please. Like, I just don't need to see that. And don't put fucking whatever it is, Joe Fortuna or whatever. And I'm not knocking this fight, but I'm just trying to make an example. When you have a guy that's a boxer, you don't put a guy that's a boxer against some random dude that can't fight. Like, that You know what I'm saying? If it's two people that don't box, fine, put them in there against each other. But don't put a pro boxer or a pro MMA guy. Listen, when you go in the fucking gym and you spar and you exercise, we could see by your hand movements if you know how to throw punches and fight. When a dude walks in a fucking gym and can't fight, you gotta tell him he can't fight. You don't throw him in the fucking ring on a pay-per-view that people paid for to fight against some guy that's been training for 15 years how to box. Is zero chance of that fight even being good at all. The dude that knows how to fight is going to take it easy and still batter the other dude. So it's retarded. The whole clown show needs to stop. I don't think that we need to just watch professional boxers. I think other people should be allowed to get in that ring and get on cards. I do agree with that. But match people accordingly, bro. And don't put on these terrible music performances and have these people talking about boxing that know nothing about boxing. It just all looks really bad. And it's kind of like embarrassing to a certain extent. It looks like boxing is reaching, which it probably is. And, you know, boxing holds firm on the case that it's superior to MMA. So what are you doing all this dumb shit for? And the point of this video was not to pin MMA against boxing. I'm just trying to make a point. Now, that out of the way, let me quickly move into my Fury Wilder 3 prediction. I actually got a couple things to say on this. So, off the bat, I'm going to say this. Straight prediction with nothing else involved. Fury wins this fight, probably by knockout. Now, getting into some of the things that I've seen that I would like to address that could obviously play a factor on the outcome of this fight, let's get into some of that. So, first of all, with me saying that I think Fury's going to win, probably by KO, I want to make it clear. At any millisecond, Deontay Wilder can land a punch and Tyson Fury may never wake up. Okay, so I'm aware of this. I'm also aware that he might get dropped and get back up and win the fight anyway, but I just want to make it clear that Wilder can KO anybody. So to sit there and say Wilder doesn't have a chance against anyone is absolutely absurd, because he literally, if nothing else, has one chance to just land one punch and it's over. So that's always possible. That very well could happen. I don't think it will happen, but it could. That being said, listen, the excuses by Wilder are really bad. I mean, I just feel like if you're that good, you're that great, I don't care if that fucking suit made your legs weak. You shouldn't have wore it out. If you didn't know until it was too late, you shut the fuck up and you eat it, bro. You take a rematch and you could even say, like, you know, listen, I know what I did wrong and I'm going to correct it and come out and win. It could mean that the wrong thing you did was wear that suit into the ring. I'm just playing devil's advocate and just giving him the benefit of the doubt. You just don't come out and say dumb shit like this. You fire Mark Breland, who's the most experienced and best boxing trainer that's in your corner. I mean, let's be realistic about that. You fire him for throwing in the towel. The fight could have been stopped 2 or 3 rounds earlier. So, I mean, that whole thing is ridiculous right there. The weird thing to me about it, too, is that you fire all these... I mean, Breland might not have been a yes man, but you had all these yes men around you that made you believe that you really didn't have to get better. You had to just make sure that you had that punch. Make sure that you just didn't get KO'd before you land it. Keep yourself in good enough condition. You know, and sharpen some skills. But Wilder was so raw and had so many things to learn. It was so obvious that he would eventually lose if he didn't land that one punch and KO somebody. I mean, even the second Luis Ortiz fight is a perfect example. He lost every round until he landed that punch. So I don't think it's good to have these yes men around you that really kind of don't feel that you need to be any better, or are just going to tell you, like, yeah, you lost the fight because you wore a heavy suit into the ring. I mean, come on, bro. If that's what you really believe, then you're going to lose fight number 3. Okay? I don't believe that that's what he believes, because he fired his camp, he hired a new trainer, and he's looking different in his training. He's looking like he's trying to fight different. So if you lost because of your suit, why are you trying to fight different now? That whole dynamic doesn't make sense. What else blows my mind is you bring in Malik Scott. Now, this is not to knock Malik Scott at all, because Malik Scott would beat the fuck out of me, and Malik Scott may very well be a very good boxing trainer. But you brought in another yes man. You brought in another dude that's just feeding you, yeah. Like, you're not going to wear that suit this time, and we're going to do this, and you're going to win. And I just don't think that it's what Wilder needs around him. I just don't think that it's going to give him the tools to go out and do what he really needs to do to win the fight. That remains to be seen. We'll see what happens on Saturday. But I just think the whole dynamic is weird. What's also weird is Wilder had all this shit to say. It was my suit, my water was tainted, my corner threw in the towel on purpose for me to lose. Fury, his hand wraps, his hand was out of the glove. All this shit, all this crazy shit. Listen, let me address that really quickly. If you box, you would understand. It's people that don't box for the most part that are saying this shit. If you boxed, you would understand how difficult this is to get away with, okay? The other Wilder's trainers are in the room while Fury's getting, hand wraps and shit like that. Everybody signs off on this. There's a signature on the hand wraps. Everybody signs off on it. The hand wraps are taken after the fight. The gloves are taken after the fight. Everything's inspected. Now, that could be corrupted, right? Okay, so everybody would have to be on it then. Wilder's camp would have had to been in on it. The commission would have had to been in on it. Everybody would have had to been in on it. And that's just something that I quite frankly don't buy. On top of that, if you box and you get your hands wrapped and you lace your gloves up, bro, them shits are crazy tight, okay? Now, I'm sure some people wear them a little bit different, but you have to understand. You're wrapped in gauze, okay? You're wrapped in tape. You have a bandage over your knuckles, and then you have each one coming down this way, like to match the bones on your hand, and then that is re-wrapped, okay? Then you have a very tight glove that's hard to get your hand in and hard to get your hand out of because you're stuck in a position. You can't slither your hand in because it's all taped up like this. So it's very hard to get your hand past that wrist part, and then it's very hard. You'll see them when the fight ends, yanking their hand out and shit like this, right? You can't just pop your hand out of the glove whenever you feel like it in the middle of a fight, bro. Like, just the whole thing is crazy. The whole thing is crazy to me. And listen, could it have happened? Sure. Okay, whatever. I'll play devil's advocate. It could have happened. All right, well, make sure it doesn't happen this time and fuck the dude up. I don't know what to say. You come out with all these fucking excuses, right? Oh, you have all this shit to say. Then the press conference comes, and you have nothing to say. You wear headphones, which essentially you should have just wore a sign that says, I can't deal with Fury's mind games. They break me, so I'm going to wear headphones. Which, if I thought Fury's mind games were why you lost the first fight, part of them probably were. But I think it was a lot of other things. I think it was Fury's weight. I think it was Fury's style. I think it was Fury's mind games. I think it was a lot of things. Okay, let's, again, play devil's advocate. Maybe it was Wilder's suit. Maybe it was this. Let's just factor all of them in, okay? You stopping him from talking to you is not going to win you the fight. If it was, I would say good move by Wilder. He just negated Fury's only advantage over him. That's not the case, bro. Fury's a better boxer than him. Fury took his fucking soul last fight. And I know I've fought many fucking times, so I know what it's like to go into a fight when you don't genuinely believe that you can win. Like, he can win. He could land a punch and knock him out, which I was a pretty hard puncher, so I'm not saying I can knock everybody out like Wilder, but I always had a puncher's chance. But there are some fights where you've lost to people in a certain fashion, and it's like, man, bro, like, I gotta go through this one more time. I don't know if I could take this dude. I'm gonna go out on my shield, but like, I know what it's like going into a fight with that mind frame. So I don't think that these headphones are gonna change anything. They just more show a sign of weakness. And Fury's kind of just gonna let this fucking guy. He's got to wear headphones because he made such clown, outrageous statements that he's embarrassed. He doesn't want people to ask him about him. And now he's going to say, oh, what did Wilder say? I'm all about business. You know, I'm going to talk in the ring, and I don't got nothing to say, right? That was a month and a half ago. And then now Wilder's got all this shit to say again. I hope you're training like your life depends on it, because it does. It's like, I don't understand, bro. I thought you were done talking. I thought you had nothing to say. When you were face-to-face with Fury, you had nothing to say. Now you're back behind your computer screen or whatever the case is, and it's, oh, you better be training like your life depends on it. I just think the dynamic is really weird. Now, that being said, I'm going to flip the coin here, because I just like to play both sides of the fence and get everything out there, and then I'll let you know what I think. I do think that there have been some times where Fury has acted kind of guilty for some reason, where it's like, it almost seems to me like he did something that he shouldn't have done. He knows that Wilder knows, and he also knows he can't get away from it in this fight, but he also still thinks that he could beat Wilder without it. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting from Fury, where it's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll beat you without the tainted gloves, or I'll beat you, you know, without your suit on, or whatever like that. So that's the only thing. The only thing that I don't like that's coming from Fury's side. And that could be nothing. That could be part of Fury's mind games again. Because sometimes Fury just sits there and stares at him and doesn't say anything. And I could be reading that silence wrong. But I do think that one thing that we have to keep in mind is that we've kind of seen this from Fury before, right? Fury said, I'm going to beat Klitschko, I'm going to do this. He went up and he did it, right? And then he got that title, and we all know what happened. And I'm not trying to shit on Fury, but he didn't handle it the right way mentally. And I know what that's like. So again, I'm not trying to shit on him. But he's done that before. Now, I'm not saying he went the same route this time. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is it was almost like a test. As soon as Fury won this title, everything shut down. All of a sudden, there was no fights for however long and stuff. I've heard Fury say out of his own mouth in interviews, you know, I only take off one day a week, and that day is hell for me. You know, when I have to just stay home and I have nothing to do. It wasn't about him, like, disliking his family. He just deals with a lot of things in his mind, and he needs to be occupied in that fashion and have his mind focused on something and driven on something to kind of stay in the correct mental state. And then as soon as he won the damn title, all that was essentially taken away. All right, now you're not going to fight for a year and a half and this and that. So I think it's going to be important to see how Fury mentally handled this, you know, quarantine or whatever, everything shutting down and everything getting postponed and not fighting for however long it was. I hope that he was able to handle it way better than he handled the last time that he got the title. So I think it was like a double whammy. He won it again, and it was like, all right, this time I'm not going to do what I did last time. I'm going to stay active. I'm going to stay focused, and then everything got shut down. So I just hope that he was able to keep his mind on track while everything was shut down. And we'll find out Saturday, right? So I just wanted to point out both sides. This has been a long video, so I won't stay on for too long, but I wanted to get my state of boxing little rant out of the way, and I wanted to touch on the Fury Wilder prediction. So I'll close the video with this again one more time. At the end of the day, I'm taking Fury by stoppage, and I just believe that Fury is going to take that man's heart. I hope that Fury doesn't make a mistake when he's being aggressive and eat one of those bombs, because we all know it could be lights out. But I just think Fury's a much better fighter. I just think Fury's the better boxer. I think Fury's just on a different level. And we'll see what happens on Saturday. But I got Fury by stoppage. I'll say 9. Fury stops him in 9. Peace.